Hi everyone, welcome back to the Des Moines Bicycle Collective video series. Today we're going to show you how to change a flat tire. So to change a flat tire, you'll need a couple of things. The first thing you'll need are some tire levers. These are used to remove the tire from the wheel. It's usually best if you have two. These are from Pedro's Bike Tools. They work really well. We use them in the shop. You'll also need a way to inflate your new tire. So you can either use a frame pump like this. This is a pump that you would carry on your bicycle, so if you got a flat while you were out on a ride, you'd be able to use this to repair it and then keep going. You can use a floor pump like this, which is obviously not as portable, probably something that you'd want to keep at home in your garage. Since we're here in the shop, I'm going to use an air compressor because it's faster. You'll also need a new tube. Tubes come in a range of sizes. This tire size is 700 by 35. This tube size is 700 by 35 to 40. This tube will work for any tire that's a 700 diameter or 35 to 40 millimeters wide. So the first thing that we'll do is remove the tire from the wheel. I'm going to start opposite the valve stem and take one tire lever and insert it underneath the edge of the tire. These tire levers are nice because I can then hook it onto the spoke and it will hold that bead of the tire over the rim. I'll take my second tire lever, stick it up next to the other one and keep it under the rim. At this point, I will then slide the lever all the way around the rim to remove the edge of the tire. The edge of the tire is also called the bead. Once this bead has been removed, I can lift the other bead of the tire up and over the rim and pull it off. At this point, I need to remove the valve cap. I could have done this first. Now we have the wheel separate and the tire and tube. We'll remove the tube from the tire and discard. We could patch that tube, maybe. We'll go into that in another video. For now, we're just going to replace it. We'll take our new tube, open it up, so a new tube like this is difficult to install in a tire. It's so flat that it's hard to keep it from getting twisted and hard to get it in the position it needs to be. So the first thing we're going to do is take our inflator and actually put a little bit of air in this tube. Just about like that. Just enough to give it some shape so that when we go to tuck it into the tire, it'll stay in position. We'll set that aside. Now the first thing we're going to do is put one bead of the tire back onto the rim. So to do that, I'll take the edge of the tire, put it in between the two walls of the rim, and pull it onto the wheel all the way around. At this point, I have one bead that's on the rim and one bead that's off. It's in this gap that I'll tuck the new tube. To do that, I lay the tire down, take my new partially inflated tube, pull down the bead that's not on the rim to expose the hole in the rim for the valve stem, and then I'll take the valve stem and put it through the hole. At this point, I'll pull the tire back up and over the tube. Now I can go all the way around the tube, or the tire, and tuck the new tube in, just like this. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that that tube doesn't get twisted or pinched anywhere. So that's why having a little bit of air in there will help. Once the tube has been tucked in position, I'll lift the wheel back up with the valve stem at the top, and using my thumbs, I'm going to push that second bead back over the lip of the rim. Once it's started here at the valve stem, I'll work my hands around equally on each side and push the bead back in. When it gets to this position, I'll flip it over and then keep going. At this point, it will start to become difficult to push the bead back on. So I'm going to let a little bit of air out of the tube to give myself a little bit more wiggle room. Now, the tube is starting to get pinched underneath the bead of the rim. If this happens, it will cause a flat when I go to inflate it. So I want to take my fingers and push that tube back up inside there to prevent it from getting pinched. Once I pushed it up, I can just pop that bead right back on, and there it goes. Now before inflating, I want to check to make sure that there's no pinches. So I'm going to push the tire back and check to see if I can see the tube poking out anywhere. The tube should be fully up inside the tire. If it's not, I'll be able to tell by checking like this and make adjustments as needed. Tires like this is a hybrid bicycle tire. These are usually the easiest ones to install because they're usually not very tight. So I'm not seeing any instances where the tube would be pinched. If you're putting on a really skinny road bike tire, this step is much more important. There's a lot tighter tolerances between the tire and the rim, and the chances that the tube will get pinched are much greater. So if you have a skinny road bike tire, you definitely want to do that step and make sure it's not going to get pinched. So at this point, I've got it installed, everything looks good. I can go ahead and inflate it. On the sidewall of the tire, it will tell me exactly how much pressure to put in here. So right here, it says inflate to 60 to 80 psi. Most tires will have a range of about 20 psi. So I'll go ahead and put some air in here. And then I'll use my tire gauge to check. If you're using a pump like this at home, it probably has a built-in pressure gauge. It makes it a little bit easier. So it looks like I'm at about 55 psi right there. Not quite at my minimum pressure. So we'll put in a little bit more. And check it again. And there we're at 70 psi. That's right in the middle of our range. That's good enough for me. At this point, we can put our valve cap back on and reinstall the wheel on the bike. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any difficulty with it, you can always stop by our bike shop and we can help you out. Thanks for watching.